Well, I was gonna go all like Winnie the Pooh for the intro and try and make you guys laugh, but I figured it might be a little inappropriate for me to stand here with no pants on and eat a bunch of honey, so I scrapped that idea pretty quick. Hello ladies and gentlemen and movie lovers of all kind, and welcome back to another new release review. And for today, I will be covering Christopher Robin. Christopher Robin was directed by Mark Forster and stars Ewan McGregor, Hayley Atwell, and Bronte Carmichael. This follows Winnie the Pooh as he tries to seek out an adult Christopher Robin so he can help him find his missing friends. First and foremost, guys, I was supremely excited for this movie. I was a major Winnie the Pooh fan growing up. I absolutely love the character, all of his friends. I love Piglet, I love Eeyore, I love Tigger, every single one of them, guys. I grew up on these books. I grew up on the animated outings, guys. I love this character, and I was so looking forward to this movie. So we can just hop right into the positives. And first and foremost, the animation, or like the CGI in this movie, is absolutely beautiful. Every single one of these characters is recognized superbly. Not joking whatsoever, guys. The CGI looks so polished. That's something I was worried about in this movie, bringing these characters into a more realistic sense, into the real world. You know, Pooh isn't just this kind of one single glossed bear. Like, he looks like a teddy bear. And Piglet looks like, you know, they all look like these almost like sock puppet type characters. And they're not obviously like socks, but you know what I mean? They all look like these teddy bears, these furry things that you would have as like stuffed animals. They literally just look like stuffed animals that walk and talk. It doesn't look cheap. It doesn't look cheesy. They look amazing. And it was like a childhood dream fulfilled to me. It looked exactly the way that I imagined as a kid if I had these characters with me in real life. It was amazing. It almost brought a tear to my eye, the animation alone. It was awesome. Next is just the fact that this movie is so damn heartwarming. The whole time, I just felt so full. I felt so happy. It was incredible. I couldn't even describe the experience besides what I've already told you. I just felt so much joy watching this movie. I loved pretty much every single second watching this movie, and I wish it went on for hours and hours more. I wish I could seriously just watch these characters all the time, and it was amazing. And next is the voice acting in this movie. The voice acting is great. It sounds just like the original characters. It's amazing. Seriously, it sounds like the way you remember these characters growing up, or the way when you read the books, you pictured them in your head. They sound exactly like the original characters, and it's awesome, guys. And next is just the acting in general. Ewan McGregor kills it, Hayley Atwell kills it, and Bronte Carmichael kills it as well. Every single like real person in this movie does a great job. Even if they don't have that many lines, they're really awesome characters. The acting in this is very well done. And seriously, guys, if I didn't already say it enough, if you couldn't take away from me in this review, I was smiling the entire time. Seriously, the whole movie, I was sitting there with a big smile on my face and like a tear in my eye. And it flip-flops sometimes. That tear was because I was sad, and that tear was because I was so happy. And I actually laughed a lot too, which was something I didn't really expect to do. The movie seemed like it might be a little more kind of, not like a darker, but you know, a little more of a kind of a dreary movie. Maybe a little bit more for adults than kids. But no, I laughed a whole lot in this movie. It wasn't just me. The little kids were laughing, the people that are older than me, all the way up to like being grandparents, great-grandparents, like everybody was laughing in this movie. And honestly, this is the first movie in such a long time that actually made me feel like a little kid again. I forgot I was in a theater. I was just enjoying this experience so much. And for a little while, I was able just to forget everything. I was able to forget work. I was able to forget school, payments, bills, all these things. I was able to just sit down and literally, it felt like I was back in my little like 8, 9, 10-year-old body. And also has like a lot of really great messages for anyone of all ages, but especially I feel like the messages are main sort targeted towards adults because little kids aren't going to pick up on the little things, although there are some things that are in there for kids too. But there's a lot of messages like, you know, work never becomes more important than family, and to never lose your imagination, and that you never really grow up. That kid that you once were is always still inside of you. It just goes to show you that you never have to stop being a kid. And it was honestly, there's so many great messages in this. Like Pooh Bear especially makes so many references to, you know, what it's like carrying a briefcase, and is the briefcase more important than your child, and having something as simple as a balloon can make all the difference in the world. It can make you so happy, and it just, Pooh really puts it into perspective for you, honestly, that the real life, the real world doesn't always have to be as it seems. You can make it fun. You can use your creativity and your imagination to make everything wonderful. But of course, there are still negatives, I know. But yes, there are negatives in this movie. None of them are really that big. They didn't affect the movie a whole lot, but they are things that do need to be addressed, of course. I am a reviewer. This is what I do. First and foremost, and it's the reason why I thought this might be a bit more of a darker movie, and you notice it in the trailers, and it stays true in the movies, the color tone and the whole color palette of this movie is darker. There are moments where it's pretty light out, and I kind of thought maybe they were doing that at first in the beginning, like Christopher Robin's grown up, he doesn't really have his imagination anymore. You know, he hasn't thought of these characters for years, so maybe it's darker, and then by the end of it, it'll get nice and bright and vibrant. It never really does. Of course, the sun comes out, and it still looks really pretty. There's a lot of really gorgeous shots in this movie. But the color tone overall is darker for sure. The colors look almost kind of depressing and dreary, but I assure you that it is not a huge takeaway from the movie. It's just something I'm like, why couldn't that be brighter? Or why couldn't they go with that idea from dark colors to kind of middle colors to nice and bright colors by the end? They don't really do that. Something they could have done. Regardless, it is a negative because the dark, dreary tone wasn't really necessary for the movie. And next is that there's really no kind of flowing story. It kind of all just happens as one big kind of cluster. And it's a beautiful, brilliant, and cute cluster to watch. But I do have to knock it as a movie reviewer that there is really no flowing narrative. It's just kind of like things happen. And the thing is, although it is a kids movie, it's not like a kids movie. Like I said, there are a lot more messages in here for adults, and there are some slower moments. And overall, the movie does kind of have a slower pace to it that kids sometimes got bored. Some kids around me did get a little restless, but they laughed when they had to laugh. They enjoyed their time. Some people, especially a lot of the kids, were even clapping at the end of the movie. So it is still very much a kids movie, but it does have a slower pace to it for sure. It's a bit more of a slow burn. And the last negative is very predictable and by the numbers. You know what's going to happen as soon as you start watching the movie. You know exactly where the story's going, and you know exactly what's going to happen by the end of it. It's something you've seen a million times before. Even kids might be able to piece it together. With all that being said, guys, like I said, the positives and just the fact that I love this movie, honestly. I love it. I can't wait to watch it again. I might even go see it again. I might take my siblings to go see it. I might go with my family. I'd honestly love to go with anyone who wants to see it. It's such just a heartwarming, feel-good movie, and I just love the feeling that it gave me. It's unlike anything I've experienced in a long while. So with all that being said, guys, I'm going to be giving Christopher Robin an 8 out of 10. So guys, if you like this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and let me know. Were you a Winnie the Pooh fan growing up? Are you still a Winnie the Pooh fan now? And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and that's a wrap.